the screen this YouTube link. Please send them this link and they can watch the session via YouTube. And they will get the same benefit. They will after completing all the proceeding, they will get the certificate from YouTube too. Mr. Prem Kumar, the live streaming has been started.
Yes, Shushanto, it has been started.
Yes, sir, you can see it.
I saw a notification.
Okay. Good morning, Mr. Torabdar.
Morning.
Sir, both sir has joined, sir.
Good morning, Mr. Bose.
Good morning. Can you hear me, sir?
Yes, clearly.
Okay, but can you see me also? No.
That our tech group. Yes.
Yes.
Now I can.
Good morning, sir.
Good morning.
Good morning,
Thank you so much for inviting me.
Let me introduce some of the Mr. Shushant Kayal, please. Okay, that's and then he's with our English team, Center for Linguistic. Then Dr. Anandarup Sarangi, he's our training and placement officer. And then I think Shashwata is there, Shashwata Sengupta. He's with the English team as well. Then we have our Shupriyo Torofdar, he's with PR. Then Rapti Madam, he's also Rapti Roy Madam. And then Gaurav Som, some of our young faculty team. So thank you. We will start shortly. Okay,
sure.
just
VC sir joined, sir.
Yeah.
VC sir is joining. I have just called him. He is joining.
Okay.
Okay, sir has joined. Good morning, sir. Okay, good morning, sir.
Good morning, sir.
স্যার তাহলে শুরু করছি।
শুরু করো।
Okay. So here we are at the 6th session of our journey. A very good morning to one and all present here. A new station always brings a new hope and a host of new opportunities. The corporate classroom journey, which began as a series of online training sessions on interview preparedness, is gradually picking up its pace. The last stop, that is session 5, was overcrowded and houseful to our great delight. In this session 2, We open our arms to those without whom this session would never be successful. Our dear participants and all the respected panelists and resource persons. With the festive season knocking at the door, this reminds me of a old English proverb, the more the merrier.
In the first 4 sessions, our respected resource persons provided us with an insight into the various skills which we need to master in order to incorporate ourselves successfully into the corporate world and its work culture. The 5th session showed a new pathway of opportunities for young aspirants in the sphere of safety management, which is one of the key concerns in the corporate and industrial world today. Now, we eagerly await the knowledge which is to be gleaned from our 6th session, from knowledge to performance, bridging the gap between thinking and doing as we ponder over the title. The title brings the image of the sculpture of Le Pêcheur, meaning the thinker in English, into my mind. This renowned sculpture by Auguste Rodin in Paris depicts a man sitting with his chin resting on one hand as though deep in thought. Just like we associate the thinker with a man of calmness, the doer is associated with a man of action. So, how do we combine these two traits and bridge the gap between the two? Let's find out. Today, our session is graced by the presence of the chief patron of the corporate classroom venture, the Honorable Vice Chancellor of Maulana Abul Kalam Azad University of Technology, Professor Dr. Shoykot Moitro. Now I humbly request VC Sir to inaugurate the session. So please.
What is the session? What is the topic today? You tell all these things. You told many things, but not the most important things. This is this culture I want to bring in all of you, the professionalism. The topic today, what will be the topic and how that will be deliberated, what are the past topics. So kindly tell all these things, then I will get some clue that in which context I have to deliver my present, I have to give my deliberation.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Many times I have seen this is this practice is being followed. So I do not know, because every day I have to join this series of webinars. Today also I have to attend 8 or 9 webinars. So when I'm joining, people are telling a lot of things, but not mentioning the major this business part or activity part which is going to happen at that particular webinar. So without knowing anything, only seeing the title, I have to tell this some things which out of my this idea, imaginations, and anticipations. And many times this is not practical also. So kindly inform me what are the feedbacks of the last what are the topics discussed in the previous webinars. What are the feedbacks from this from the participants, and what are going to be delivered today, and who will be delivering all these things. Make a this brief summarized presentation. Then invite me sharing my views.
Okay, sir, I'm giving a brief of the previous sessions.
Just a minute. This is the first and foremost session for all the people present over here, including all the participants. Kindly try to focus. Kindly try to this move. We are going. All of us need to be have to take certain responsibility, and that will be possible only if we have practical perspective of all these things. So for doing all these things, we have to this organize whatever we have learned, whatever we are going to learn in that fashion that we can always express that this part we have already learned and this part we are going to learn, and is there any this further requirement for learning. So this assessment should be always at the back of our mind. Then only we can this take further actions or corrective actions to make ourselves more knowledgeable and more applicable in the context of the the present scenario or in the future world.
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Sure, sir. Sir, as for now session so far, we have conducted session on group discussions professional email writing, communication skills, safety management, which was in the last session, in session 5. And for today, we have the topic from knowledge to performance, how to bridge the think do gap. So basically, sir, the sessions that we are conducting is mainly emphasized upon how to step into the corporate world or how to face the corporate interviews and everything like related to that. And for today's session, we have this topic to discuss. And we have Mr. Rahul Bose with us to discuss over this topic today, sir.
Okay, very nice. So you see, this is basically a webinar, but the target of this or purpose of this webinar is to make everywhere more conscious and more concerned about this application of their acquired knowledge and how to make this their performance more effective in the context of this employment or engagement or the self-employment, whatever it is in their this is for all the this prospective professionals of the future. This particular webinar was designed to support, to help the prospective these professionals of the future, so that they can apply themselves in a more effective manner. So my suggestion is, my observation is, writing, how to write email and how to this make effective communication. All these are very, very important, because this time maybe apart from this webinar, many things have been this delivered and discussed. I have a plan to this take it forward in this way, that we need to three types of this skill. One is our core competency, the subject knowledge which we are having, which we are studying, which we are this learning. Second is some secondary attributes like this knowing certain programming language, knowing certain these tools and techniques for making our knowledge learning process more effective. And third one is our this own personality development, communication skill, and certain other attributes. So in this particular context, there are many things, when at least 8 to 9 or 10 these different these types of areas we need to venture. One is this English communication in business. This is one of the very, very important area. Now, right now, this worldwide, this is the time of globalization. This is the time of digital, this business and all these things. So, business communication or English communication for business, this is going to be one of the prime, this important area in near future. And there are this series of resources available, and we are planning to organize, just not only email, how to take note, how to get, how to this communicate in the social network site, and how to make our this own personal brand more visible, how to make our own this resume, all these things these are coming here. How to then this negotiation skill, how to interact. Negotiation means this is applicable to many places. Negotiation, it is applicable at our home, at our this learning place, at our workplace. So negotiation skill is very, very important. Third one is this understanding the basic features of the management. What are the different management is it is applicable to everywhere. So what are the basic features of this? How to understand the basic features of finance? This is for everyone will not be a financial professional, but we have to understand the importance of money and all these things. Then there are other skill areas, how to understand the importance of this digital world, how to this go for digital promotion, because in near future many things will happen, and everything it has already started, that the things are happening at digital platform, be it business, be it education, be it entertainment, whatever it is. So how to handle this digital platform, how to keep ourselves more this visible, more effective, at the same time more secure. So basic understanding of all these things. So in that way, there are lots of these areas are available, and the areas are coming up, and researches are going on, and we are keeping a track of each and every development, what is happening in the context of this training and skill development and imparting of knowledge. And so this, and one more important thing is, you see, until and unless we engage ourselves in reading more, in getting this the information of the entire world. World is changing very fast. So how it is changing? Every day you will be seeing numbers of books are coming up, numbers of writings are coming up, numbers of important blogs are this coming up. So we have to take at least a summarized form of all these things. Not this, this, it is not possible to go through all these books, all these blogs, but what are the important development? For example, and many things, whenever you will be seeing many things, you have to develop your critical understanding or, this ability to analyze these things critically. For example, I am just giving you one, this one instance. Today I read in newspaper, Esther Duflo, who is who is Esther Duflo, who won the Nobel Prize in Economics along with Abhijit Binayak. She commented that in India, digital education will, wide this gap in the context of learning, and that will create a more this heterogeneous society, something. So that comment, which has some negative connotation. That means digital learning will not be effective in India. This summarized from his observation and all these things. Whatever I have understood, he tried to make a comment on that. Now the thing is, there are many management strategies. One is opportunities available for everyone. Opportunity is available for some group. Opportunity is available for no one. Now, given the choice, first one is not available. So then rest is that there are two options available. Opportunity is available for some group and opportunity is available for no one. Which you should choose? If we indicate that we should choose an opportunity, it should be available for no one. That means no one of us now will engage in digital learning system. If this happens, then whatever the progression, what percentage of progression which is taking place, that will be stopped. At Mahabharata, there is a story. The story is, the Shakuni, who was the maternal uncle of Duryodhana. He had, one, this different plot in his mind, because it is generally perceived that Shakuni supported this Kuru Vangsha and influenced them to fight against Pandavas. But there was there's a reason behind it. The reason where they were 7 brothers. Along with their father and 7 brothers, Dhritarashtra, he this made them this imprisoned without any food and water. Before this this Mahabharata, all these things happened, and food was given only for the survival of one person. So rest of the brothers, they sacrifice. They thought that when this is the question of survival of one, let us help to survive that person who is most intelligent among us. So they sacrificed their food and water, and they fed only Shakuni, because they thought that we do not have any other options. We have to perish. But one of us should be there to take revenge of all these things. This, you say, this story has deep, this deep meaning. Meaning means when we are not getting enough opportunity, let us, this support a limited group so that they can flourish further. They can, they can be more powerful, and out of that power, our future will be benefited. You see, so nothing is one-dimensional. Nothing is one directional. Everything, if you think deeply, you will see whatever is being said, whatever is being presented, that can be thought in different, this dimension, different way. So this is critical thinking ability. You have to develop all these things. Whatever you are saying, try to understand. Whether you see, this is nothing is universal truth. There are certain, these laws of nature and all these things. These are called universal. But now it is being said that nothing is, nothing is that's absolutely true. Because we have a certain frame reference and all these things, so we even do not know how this universe and all these things is, because there are certain theories. But what is beyond our universe, or what is there? Is there more universe? If there will there be any this destruction or this end of this universe? So all these questions are still coming up. So there are certain theories, postulations, that with this was happening, that particles are generated, light generated, but the postulation. This cannot be surely and suddenly, this been presented, because and that's why this whatever all these things and many scientific theory may come up in near future. Our classical theory has been changed by quantum mechanics. In near future, what is going to happen? We have to see lots of things are happening. So in that way, so we need to develop our critical understanding ability, our cognitive, this ability. We have to develop our own knowledge and perception, and then emotional intelligence. Emotional intelligence means how we can apply our emotion for serving our purpose in a better way, in a positive manner. Empathy, lots of qualities are coming up. Empathy is being considered as one of the foremost condition for this inner development. And empathy means you have to place yourself in other person's perspective. Then only you will come to know what are the problems on the other side, why this conflict and all these things are happening. Then you can have more this convincing solution for many things. So in that way, lots of things are coming up. New dimensions of management are coming up. New ways of thought process are coming up. So these we need to understand on a day basis. There's an adage: if you do not upgrade you on a regular basis, then definitely you are downgrading yourself on a regular basis. Because everything is moving so fast, and if you do not move with the changing scenario, changing context, if you remain there where you were yesterday, then definitely you are lagging behind. So on a day basis, how we are improving ourselves, improving our knowledge, improving our understanding, improving our thought process, improving our skill, improving our attitude, we have to take a note of all these things. This, after attending all these classes, we have to make a own diary or own notebook or journal where to take a record of whatever we have understood, whatever we have learned. Is there all these points are convincing? All these points are this acceptable? Is there maybe any counter opinion of it? Is there any scope of this further discussion and deliberation on it? So make a note of all these things. So until unless we engage ourselves in serious practices, then what will happen? Many things will be superficial. And that's why this is by advice, piece of advice, or this is my opinion. Advice is this something a word which has some other connotation. So my opinion is, or my submission is, we have to engage ourselves in serious understanding of everything, serious and meaningful understanding, thoughtful understanding of everything. Be it this any webinar classes, be it this report presented in newspaper, be it this report post at any social network site or on blogs or any journal articles, whatever it is. After going through all these things, we must develop our own ability to this analyze it, or to make a post-mortem analysis of it, to find out whether this is totally acceptable, or there is scope of further improvement, or there is some part which cannot be accepted. So all these things that should be always there at the back. Then only you see there will be substantial and significant improvement in your quality, in your ability for applications in the practical field. So this emergence of your upliftment of every one of us have potential. This is not a new things. This Swami Vivekananda told many years. So everyone has our own potential, but the thing is, we many times are not in a position to understand this hidden potential. Even a long time before, one of this at Athens, that Socrates also, this opined this. Our Upanishad and everywhere, Gita and everywhere, and all these places, all the scriptures of wisdom. It is first we have to try to understand ourselves, our own strength, our own weakness, our own opportunities, our own challenges. So if we totally understand ourselves, which is called in Sanskrit Atmanam Buddhi, or know thyself. So many, in many forms, this has been presented by the wise men who came at different times at this world. First, we have to understand ourselves. Then only we will come to know where is our strength. And for that, the critical thought process, deep understanding, immersive understanding of our own context, own perspective, own this understanding that is required. And I believe that this corporate system that is also now is doing lots of experiment. Earlier, corporate means it a ruthless culture was followed. Now it is being established that importance of emotional intelligence, importance of spiritual intelligence is very, very effective in corporate atmosphere too. That's why in many places I have personally observed that many, the spiritual personalities, they are being invited by many corporate groups to deliver lectures and to make their, this on observation. And that's why this is the time where many things are getting mixed. Yesterday, I had one observation because I am sharing my experience. Yesterday, there was a program of national education policy, and who was the mastermind behind it? Dr. Kosturi, he himself presented. One point was discussed there, this emergence of multidisciplinary structures. Here I have my own observation. Multidisciplinary means, because the main focus is different disciplines will be there, multidisciplines, not interdiscipline, multidiscipline. But you see, right now, the focus is on break the silo. Break the silo means the compartmentalism of knowledge, compartmentalization of knowledge, it is no longer valid. Break the silo means cross-disciplinary, transdisciplinary, everything is happening. Multidisciplinary may not serve the purpose. We can set up different disciplines, but until and unless all these disciplines are getting intermixed or intermingled or interpenetrating, then what will happen? We will not have our 360-degree orientation of our mindset for tackling a problem. So this is my own personal observation. So there will be these lots of things, and if you go for deep introspection, you will also have different these sorts of types of observations, and many things you can present from your side also. One point it was said, I just probably I have heard it here rightly, that probably Mr. Coyle presented houseful. What is houseful in today's digital world? Nothing is houseful. Entire this universe is there with the internet, and we are presenting it at a digital platform. No question of houseful. Universe, this is universal. Maybe when people will settle at Mars and there will be internet communication between Earth and Mars, then people will go to other planets and all these things. These communications, this nothing in today's context, space and time barrier has overcome completely in digital platform. So maybe you have your Zoom platform capacity is 1,000, but you can integrate with social media and all these things and make it, this enormous. So I have spoken a lot, and this is the time for this hearing from this resource persons who has been invited for this purpose. And I wish all of you a very happy, effective, and engageful learning with interaction, learning which can improve your thought process, your ability. And we will be planning to organize series of programs in this way. I have personal plans of this to present a glimpse of different areas to each and every professionals for having a 360-degree or this total holistic development of thought process and an ability to understand many things. So with this, I would like to conclude. So this is a great endeavor from our School of Natural Science, Applied Science, and of the late, it has become Natural Science, Applied Science, and Social Science. And from the Department of Linguistics, this is a great endeavor. And I believe that after all these exercises, there should be, these transcripted versions of all the lectures available for benefit of our learners. So whatever the 7th or the 8th lecture, this session has been organized. Afterwards, we want to make a compendium of it, or this posting it to all the participants present over here, or keeping it our portal so that everyone can have access to it. We want to make it sustainable, not one-time affair, and make it available, affordable also,
Yes, sir.
without any price.
Yes, sir.
So with this, I'd like to conclude. Thank you, everyone. for organizing this, and thank and my best wishes for all the participants. Thank you. Kindly take this
Thank you,
session.
sir.
Thank you, sir, for your illuminating words as always. And we are all enriched. And for the information of the participants, I would like to point out some things regarding our corporate classroom venture. That from session 5 till session 5, we have already collected all the data in a particular Google Doc format, and we'll share the link with you where you can access from session 1 onwards all the data from session onwards. And we are going to update that link with the session going on, with the coming sessions that we have just Vice Chancellor has suggested and advised. We are going to collect all the data, and we have already started it, and we'll share the link
Mr.
after the end
Koyal,
of the
by data you mean the transcript, right?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
By data you mean the transcript of what has happened. Okay,
Yes, sir.
Thanks.
The executive summary
transcript you have to
and
prepare. Transcript you have to prepare. We have to take a this written format of all these lectures. Many
Yes,
people
sir.
are telling me, but
Yes,
someone
sir.
will be there to take a note of all these things, making a this good document, written document, so that
Yes, sir.
those who could not follow properly, because in digital platform, one of the problem, many times there may be interruptions in these networks. Many times, this your voice quality is not good. Many times it is dropping also. But if the entire, this written, the document is available, then people will go through it and can have a better understanding of whatever has been, this presented. This is in Indian context. You see, we are quite familiar with our pronunciation and way of style of talking. Maybe some of us, they follow US accent and all these things, but otherwise, we mostly follow our Indian accent to make ourselves this communicable. The problem is here for most of I have seen that for US accent, they spell these the words in different way, which is not similar to British accent, and that's why for their this for those lectures, this written document or written transcript is always mandatory. Otherwise, this from different parts of the world, many people will not be able to understand. Even in film also, the question, this concept of subtitle have come because of the fact many of these heroes of Western movies, their pronunciation is difficult to understand. I could not follow. Was Sylvester Stallone, what way he was talking about many times. Earlier, the British actors or those who are from British School of Drama, their pronunciation is quite understandable. But from US and Italian, these origin actors, they very difficult to understand their pronunciation. Maybe there are, this is my limit, but I have seen many people are with also my limit. I have checked with one of my British friend. He also told me, I could not follow many of their sentences. That is the problem for me also. So this is this written transcript now has become mandatory for lectures, and the subtitles or subtitle is difficult for all these lectures because it needs the proper recording and all these things. But someone of you must take this pen for writing whatever is being presented. PowerPoint presentation is okay, but in between slides, people are talking, they're telling many things. Okay, so that part should be this available.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Sure, sir.
Yes, sir.
So thank you for your suggestions, and we will definitely follow the suggestions as you have said. Now I would like to
Thank you,
go
sir.
forward to the sessions. Now, I request the Director of the School of Applied Natural and Social Sciences and Professor in charge of the Language Laboratory, Professor Dr. Sukhendu Samazdar, who is the Chief Architect of our Corporate Classroom Initiative, to enlighten the audience of the mission and vision of our venture. Sir, please.
Thank you, Mr. Koyal. Namaskar. Honorable Vice Chancellor, distinguished keynote speaker, respected panelists, and members of the borderless knowledge community. The purpose of corporate classroom is basically to bridge the gap between college classroom and corporate chambers. So we are trying to bring in people who work, who have real life experience, who, as they say, been there, done that, walk the talk. And then share their experience and some of the insider's knowledge, so to say, with the aspiring professionals who are being trained in the ambit of this university. Now, this university is a nodal public university of technology, having its ambit all over the entire state of West Bengal. And I feel proud and privileged to serve in this university, which caters to the educational needs of more than 150,000 students through 200 plus colleges, affiliated colleges, and 770 odd in-house programs. So essentially, these programs are open to the entire knowledge community, the student community. And I take this opportunity to thank today's keynote speaker, as well as the previous ones, as well as the ones to come, for their graciously donating their precious time, because we live this, it is our principle, as Honorable Vice Chancellor pointed out, to make it accessible so that we do not charge any registration fees, and it would not have been possible without the generosity of our resource persons who graciously donate their time. There is not much to say after such an illuminating and probing and quite energizing deliberation by our VC sir. And then something very special is awaiting all of us. So I would close with this comment that let us try to take it in and keep it in. That is, practice maybe a little bit, that is fine. But whatever we learn, it is not sustainable unless it transforms us even by a millimeter. It is futile. It is not just it turns out to be just attendance. So let us all pledge that in this corporate classroom exercise, in this corporate classroom culture, whatever we are going to learn, let us pledge that we put some of it into practice. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Now the tone is all set for our today's session. We'll directly straightforward to the keynote speaker. As our respected keynote speaker for the 5th session, we have Mr. Rahul Bose, consultant to IBM Global Learning and Knowledge, IBM Global Business. I would request Dr. Shamazdar to introduce Mr. Bose to the audience. Please, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Koyal. I know Mr. Bose for about 2 years. However, it seems that I know him for much longer. He's not only a gentleman, but a genteel man as well. His manners are very different from mine. He is a patient listener. He's always pleasant. He's never excitable as I am. And he's always sincere and caring and never sarcastic as I am at certain times. However, somehow I feel there is a friendship that has developed during these 24 months. And I had my hunch that it has developed has been reinforced by the fact that promptly and warmly he accepted my invitation to take one of the sessions. His manners are very, how to put it, understated, but he's a very effective person, and he has worked in very senior responsible positions. He is very well educated. I'm not going to go through his biodata. That's a cliche that doesn't really make much of a sense. So I feel he has something real and meaningful to offer to our student community. And that was the reason I invited him. And I'm confident that you will not be disappointed. Mr. Rahul Bose, please, if you will start the session now.
Thank you so much, Dr. Shukendra Samazdar and Honorable Vice Chancellor, Dr. Shoikat Moitro. A pleasure as always to listen to you. And once I remember you had come to Bengal Chamber of Commerce, where we had a little discussion. And at that time, you had just onboarded on this role. So it was a pleasure again. And of course, to your team, Dr. Samazdar, who's been close with me for some time, for one particular assignment, which was not very pleasant, but it brought us together. So thank you, Dr. Samazdar, for those kind words. And Mr. Koyal, Mr. Anandarup Sharangi, and everybody on the panel. I know it's a Saturday morning. You could have done something very different. Maybe do a little bit of puja shopping with social distancing, yet you plan to invest this time into bridging the gap between knowledge, something that we are talking about how to bridge the gap between thinking and doing. So I first like to thank MAKAUT for this, this corporatization, if I may say, of putting it in a focus or showing you a tunnel that this is where the education goes into. Not that it necessarily education needs to be monetized by some corporate who's money hungry and wants to grab all your youth and enthusiasm in this machine called humdinger of a machine called life. But it is also about flowering yourselves, blossoming yourselves to realize your full potential, whether you do research, whether you work for a corporate, whether you work for an NGO, or wherever you are. So I thought that I'll make a few preliminary statements by thanking MAKAUT for this initiative, which is rare and non-parallel. I have not seen this at this scale that 1,000 people join in. So I was trifle embarrassed when Dr. Samazdar told me that hajar lok. Then I said that the brigadier, so one is, and in today's world, and so fun that Mr. Coyle said about houseful, and the Vice Chancellor said that the house is the whole world and the Mars and the Corona, and the Saturn and the universe. So as big as it could get. So thank you so much for giving me this stage. I will be brief. I know less is more in today's world. In corporate, we continuously say this, and more so in a virtual atmosphere. People's time is precious. Sitting in front of a screen is difficult. So I'll just limit myself to a few key points and we'll open up for discussions, maybe just around 15-20 minutes. And then please be on the chat. Good, bad, ugly, whatever are your comments, ready to take, want to know more, ready to discuss with you. So with that, I'll just do a screen share. So if I can, if it works. So here's, okay. And I'll not labor this very long so that you don't have to, like Dr. Samazdar says, neither power nor point. Okay. So bridging the gap. So as you can see, many of us are very good in thinking. Okay, I'll cut the chase and directly come to the point. We have a mind of our own and we continuously think. And that is how people are. Many people are very good at thinking. Many people are very good at strategy planning. In corporates, we have a lot of good ideas. But then when it comes to execution, there is always a gap. So I thought with the concurrence of Dr. Samazdar that this would be a good topic to speak on, because there are many students who prepare for an exam, but somehow the performance doesn't come across in the exam. Many students who are very meritorious. In my college life, I started my life in 1984 from Jadavpur University in a company called Bharat Heavy Electricals. So my first 8 years were in the public sector, next 9 years were in Tata Steel. Then 1 year in PricewaterhouseCoopers, and the last 20 years in IBM in a different capacity now. being an advisor. But what I have realized in common, I have seen people who apparently had great potential but couldn't turn kinetic. If I may just use these two words, it's all about potential energy and kinetic energy. So we know the formula for potential energy. It's mgh or whatever is the formula. Maybe I forget a little bit, but it's about the height in which you are and the mass which you have. And therefore, that is your potential. And when it comes to execution, when the whole waterfall hits the ground, when you come like a jalopropat, then you are not as forceful. So that is precisely why I thought that I'll speak to students, because I think this somehow eats them up. They were good in physics, they were good in maths, they were good in literature. But when it comes to writing an email, as was referenced, somehow it's a problem. Colloquial English is not, as Professor said, that there's a difficulty in understanding an American English. So let's say the Americans speak well, but if it comes to writing, a Britisher or a Brit does better. So I'm not getting into that, but any skill, whether it be an engineer skill, whether it be a researcher skill, if you cannot put your great thought process into a plan on the road, you are not doing justice to it. So I thought of leaving you with some thoughts, not really trying to do a solution in 45 minutes or whatever, of the thinking doing gap. I thought that I'll just speak to you that thinking is a different part of the brain, doing is a different part of the brain. And that is how we are hardwired. As one of my friends said, that Rahul, his name is, he's my colleague in IBM. So he says, look, I'm not as people friendly as you are. You are hardwired. So he's a techie. He can do an Excel sheet. He can do a PowerPoint. He can do magic. He can do in virtual medium. He can come across like a phantom, which I cannot. So he can really make, as good as it gets, though we are far away from each other. So he told me one word, that hardwired. So that is something I agree, that genetically or fundamentally, if you look at from our ancestors, some people are happy people, some people are thoughtful people. So people are people all over the world. And I do not expect one paintbrush to color them all in one color. So I start with a small diagram. So if you can see this, can you give me a yes on the chat? Then I know you can see this.
Yes, sir.
Thank you so much. So I hear a voice. Okay, so voice, chat, whatever you can get across me. This is your chance. So you see a left brain and a right brain. Okay, now this looks like a brain, hopefully. So there's a gap. Some people are, and this is where the School of Natural Sciences and Humanities and the brief which Dr. Shamazdar and his team continues, there's a big role that the brain is, is a very strange animal. So some people in the left brain, what you see is an addendum and a dedendum. I mean, two gears which mesh into each other, something that we learned in mechanical engineering. So anything about rationality, anything about mathematics, anything about logic, some people are good. Some people are good in poetry, love, emotion, are very relational. Now, it is rare that there is a combination of both the left and right, that you are very good in literature and you're very good in physics. There are occasions when people are, and we celebrate such people. As you see, there was a reference to Esther Duflo earlier on by the Honorable Vice Chancellor. She had made a comment that, Indians, digital maturity, as we say. So, be that as it may, so people have a right brain and a left brain, and possibly this is where the difference stems in from thinking to doing. So people who think logically are the left brain people and engineers like we are. I assume that majority of us are in the engineering profession, whether mechanical, civil, whatever be your faith. You think logically, you can do great maths. But let's say if you are asked to do something that would require a little bit of a right brain approach. That what will work with my audience, what will not work with my audience. তখন কিন্তু আমার লেফট ব্রেনের এত অঙ্ক জটিল সব জিনিস it will not come into play. What will come into play is আমি কি করে এটা লোকের কাছে নিয়ে আসবো কাছে, where it needs empathy, where it needs people skills, which was referenced by the Honorable Vice Chancellor a few moments back. So I leave you with this thought that there would be something about a left brain and a right brain. Let me go ahead. So what I really wanted to do in the next 15 minutes, and then I'll open it up. One is that appreciate that there is a knowledge and a performance gap. That I have great resident knowledge. I mean, অনেক জানি, কিন্তু when it comes to doing, আমার কিরকম কথা আটকে যায়. I cannot put myself to action. I have serious problems in, getting along with people. I'm not a people player. I cannot work in a team. I'm an individual contributor, and in IT world, we see this very often. In fact, they loved working from home, and IT was ready for it. Let me give you a snippet. Before Corona came, we knew that, we knew from whatever intelligence that things would be largely because we were told that projects having more than 15 people do not come to office. So that was in January 2020, which was before when the lockdown started. So in the IT world, it was a lonely world. Okay, বাড়ি থেকে কাজ করে. They work from a hotel. I'm not getting into similar rhyming names. They work from many other places, a motel. Wherever you work matters, not that your physicality. So people were virtual. So, why I bring this topic is we had great people, and we have great people who have very good Java skills, who can solve a lot of tickets. They can do an automation project excellently for all our clients. Let's say whether it be a General Electric or Adani or any one client of IBM. So we are great. Now, do we really connect with clients? Do we really do? So that is something to be seen. Second is if I know, and this is for universally, for a student, for an adult professional, for anybody who has to perform. If you don't have to perform, then you are out of this discussion totally. Okay, this is one boundary statement which I make. আমাকে যদি কিছু করে দেখাতে হয়, then you are in the discussion. Otherwise, এই খেলায় you are not there. So if you have to perform, then you have to identify the cause for the knowledge. So let's try to identify what's holding you back. And then finally, when we end, what can we do to resolve this gap? So why does the gap exist? And I'll be very simple about it. Adults, they need to know why they should learn. আমি কেন শিখব? এত physics পড়া আমার কি হবে? Okay, there are people, and I have seen kids speaking like this, or not kids, sorry, to undermine kids. Okay, this is one coaching tip which I learned. So in a class, when I asked that, how many kids do you have? Then I had a co-tutor who was a lady from Chennai, and people in Chennai are usually good in mathematics and English, if they're Tamilians. So she said, Rahul, goats have kids, people have children. So ever, always refer to people's progeny as children, or something, not as a kid. Kid may be okay, so that is on the by. So any adult, he will need to know why they should learn. কেন আমি শিখতে যাব? এত আমার শেক্সপিয়ার পড়ে কি হবে? এত আমার রবি ঠাকুর পড়ে কি হবে? এত আমি স্নেলস ল, ওমস ল, কেমিস্ট্রিতে মলিয়াস চার্ট, ফিজিক্সে superheated steam. Why should I get into all this? Now, if there's not a larger truth or somebody doesn't show that, hey man, why you need to learn this, that tomorrow, obliquely, it will come in your life. So in BHL, thermodynamics came in my life. And luckily, I had studied a little bit of Rogers and Mayhew or whatever book we had in Jadavpur University during those days. We had a steam engine. I had seen a prototype of a boiler. That helped. Now, I do not know if I had not seen any. If I had just studied computer, and I went into industry very cold. So that is number one of the gap, that unless you show them that why is the purpose to learn. For example, I say you learn empathy. The guys say, I'll never, for example, I remember once teaching a class about the Abraham Maslow's hierarchy. So I started, with the base level, that we have physiological needs, then we have security needs, then we have social needs, then we have esteem needs, আমাকে বাবু বলবে, হুজুর বলবে, and then we are self-actualized. One girl in my class said, "Sir, I'm already self-actualized." She was a millennial. Why should I go on? So, if you have difficult people, you have to make them show that, you are not an individual contributor. Life is not academics. It's a big laboratory where you meet so many people and people come in so many shades. Therefore, you need to learn. Now, you will need an opportunity to practice. Again, opportunities will not be given. You will have to seize. Now, this is again a cliche that power has to be seized, power cannot be granted. But yet, I make this statement that brave is the one who seeks out and say, "Hey, sir, Dr. Shamazdar or Mr. Koyal, am I a chance din? I will do it." Okay, so tell your professor that give me a chance, I'll conduct this class for you. Or, I'll conduct this experiment for you. You cannot replace your professor, but you can replace a little bit of what you can. And finally, adults learn by observation, experience, and social interaction. I will maybe reference a little bit of how an adult learns at the very fag end. So, my whole agenda today, and therefore I seek your vote, not like a political candidate who's seeking a fresh mandate in Bengal or Bihar, but a corporate citizen, just do it. And I'm not stealing Nike's slogan. I'm saying that if you do it in a foolhardy way, people will not respect you, but there's a lot of knowledge by doing it. Now, as a race, we are intellectual, and especially this part of the world, some people feel chinta ta onek boro jinis, janish, like potol danga tenida. So he used to think a lot. Now, if you think, and if you think that think is a superior function, as was referenced by Mr. Koyal in the beginning, that famous Rodin sculpture in Paris, and that is also IBM's logo, think, T-H-I-N-K, chinta karo. So if you continuously think, and if you do not put it into performance, that is known as analysis paralysis. So unless you perform, you will not know how good was your knowledge. Kichu bhul bhranti hobe, kichu bhangbe. Some people will say you are a, son of a gun, or you are a fool. Eta sobche boro boka, eta korte parle na, which is fine. But you will have the pleasure that you tried something, and they'll be learning from it. And the next time, you will be the biggest achiever. I'm not saying a hero, but you will be kormo. Okay, you'll understand the might of doing. So I have seen this a problem with academic people, that kichu kore felle jinishta is trivialized. So I do, once upon a time, I agreed with this, that to understand a Boston Consulting, a 2x2 matrix, or a 3x3, or to understand a polynomial function, or to understand factorial, or to understand so many complicated things, like a Fourier equation is all cool, but unless you put it to life, people will say, to onek jane pondit lok, kintu kichu korte bolle sir parbe na. So don't be that person. And I'll just give you 3 things. I had learned some of the things here. Machine design, for example. Okay, and he's no longer in this world. Bibu Mukherjee was our professor in Jadavpur. He taught us machine design. Now, have I ever designed a machine? And I ask this question back to you. So I have not designed a machine, but I have seen one, and I have thought about it, that why not design something, or why not do something, which is very, very difficult. Second, the first law of thermodynamics. So there are 3 laws. I learned them. Did I apply it? Yes, to a partial extent in BHL. I had to use that. Java, I never learned it, but many of you did. Did you write a script? Did you run a bug? Did you put it to practice? Was some client helped by it? Did you do a pilot? Did you do a proof of concept? If not, what have you learned Java? Then it's as good as learning Java, Sumatra, and Bali. There are 3 islands in the world. Electrical technology, we had this as a side, as an elective, because we are not electrical engineers, but we had to learn it. Now, what I remember is an armature. I remember the number of windings. I remember the number of turns. But if, let's say, I was supposed to do something, can I really do it? So I leave these questions with you for you to think and deliberate. When will you know that there is a gap? When you will find very smart talk, খুব কথা বলছে, পটাপট খুব কথা চলছে. So why is talk so amazing? Because it captivates you. আরে দাদা যা বললো না ফাটিয়ে দিয়েছে. So if talk substitutes action, then you will know there's a gap. When your memory substitutes thinking, for example, if I use my memory from 1961, in fact, I remember everything, whatever I can from 1964, the day Jawaharlal Nehru died. And my children, they laugh and they say, Baba, this is not the truth. But to tell you the truth, 1964 onwards, I more or less, when I was 3 years old, I tried to think what my memory was. Now, I do not remember everything like that movie Ghazini, but neither do I have to write it on my body that what happened in 64 to 2020. Finally, when fear prevents, which is one big impediment, and I agree with young people, jodi ami kore chhoriye di, in your terms, I'm using a colloquial with the permission of all the esteemed and the genteel people here, that if I do a faux pas, if I mess up, tahle amar ki hobe? So if you have a consequence at the back like a Damocles sword, then that will be an inhibitor. So number one, make actions count more than planning. So it's often said that planning is cerebral, je chinta kore tar brain ta onek, it has more convolutions, onek beshi pak kheyece. So the more convoluted your brain is, you're supposed to be more of an intellectual. I'm not a medicine man, I'll not know the truth, but something that I learned. So make it more of action-oriented learning. Do something and then see what happens. And I know millennials like doing it. They don't like listening to lectures. They like doing things themselves. And I know time is on your side. Number two, treat failure as an opportunity to learn. Now, this I'm not saying barbar fail korbo. Puro 50 bar ami fail kore gechi. So in our times, there used to be one joke that a guy who's failed BA thrice is as good as a BA pass. So no more in these days. You cannot afford the luxury what happened in the 70s. But in today's time, one failure, you will be given a chance. 3 failures, you will be shown the door. But treat that one failure as your turning point. Number 3, do not fear. And I think in today's world, people are not afraid. That is something I see from millennials. They are not afraid. They treat people and get that, that hierarchy feel. And once I got into a big trouble in Korea by saying that there is no hierarchy when we come to working. Then a Korean person in Seoul, he told me very clearly in the class that, Mr. Bose, there is a hierarchy. I'm a project director, there is a project manager, and these are young freshers, so don't teach them wrong things. That we are hierarchy less. We are very hierarchy full. Now, that was a 2012 wisdom, and I couldn't sleep that night because he was right. But I took it in. And I think that, yes, there is an hierarchy, but fear can be driven out. And finally, what is one tip that I want to leave you with is a focus energy matrix. So this is a little bit of a management jargon. I'll send a paper to Dr. Shamazdar for dissemination. It's by Shumantro Ghoshal and Chris Bartlett. So it says about a focus energy matrix. How will you have said, sir, all these things? যে আমি এত চিন্তা করব না, আমি কাজ করব, কর্মময় করব জীবন, একটা পথনির্দেশিকা দেখান. So I thought that I'll tell you this, that there's a focus energy matrix. So on one side, you have energy, and I know you have energy. You are young people, you know a lot, so you have high energy. On the other side, where I'm suspicious, and which I also see in my company, how much focus do you have? If you have both, you're purposeful. If you see the right-hand quadrant, I sort of wanted to end it with a little bit of management jargon, which is always close to my heart. So you have a purposeful quadrant. যে he's জানে কি করতে হবে, আর ওর এনার্জিও আছে, প্রচন্ড এনার্জি আছে, দৌড়ে চলে যাবে. Okay, so that is one guy who will do it. Now we come to the real life cases. I have a lot of energy, but I am in 5 projects. 5 দিকে আমার মন. So I'm distracted. So that is also good. You are high on energy, but you are moved into 5 different areas. Then you have a guy who's low on energy but very high on focus for whatever reasons. So that is why it's important to stay healthy. If you have to do something, you'll have to have a lot of oxygen in your body. You will need to be hydrated. You need to wake up in the morning, or you need to be energetic. So if you lack energy, but you are very focused, and we have many characters in our company, people who have married and they have compromised their career. And after that, I more or less know what the person, he or she, wants to say. So if you have a focus, but you are not energetic, you are disengaged. And finally, there's a last quadrant when you are neither. Focus or not, energy or not. So they'll procrastinate, they'll delay. I'm not getting into this, but let's say if you find comfort in what you are doing, that is the biggest challenge, what I find. That you may be a procrastinator if you find a comfort in Control C and Control V. If today is a Saturday, if your Monday is a Control V and Control V of a Wednesday, and no days are different, then I think you're a procrastinator. So cast off your cocoon of success or your cocoon of getting into a shell and come out in an area which would possibly be disengaged when you are very high in energy, but you don't have a clear focus, or you're multitasking, like many of us are now. I have seen multitasking. Okay, on this topic, you neither do any justice to any of the 5 tasks you're doing. Maybe you're chatting on the WhatsApp. You're doing something on Facebook. You may be watching a movie and you're listening to my lecture. And a voice chole asche. Now, I'm sure you are not doing justice to all of the 4 activities. So that is my earnest plea to you. Do not be distracted. Disengaged can happen. You're low in energy, but you are very focused. Purposeful is the El Dorado where we need to be. So that is why I just spent a little bit of time with you this morning, just to spend on the focus energy matrix and what are the top tips I'll get from you, how to be purposeful. For example, maintain a to-do list, what to do daily, cut out distractions, don't take in all calls, haja call to nai, people who suck the negative energy out of you, so that you have loads of energy to do things and you find pleasure in doing. Okay, I think I'll limit myself.
Any other foreign countries, like data hubs and all.
Yeah, so what is your thought? What do you want to do, Saptarshi?
Sir, actually, I was asking that, do you propose in making any data hubs and all for a specified any companies, so that they can store such data pool for the future uses? Do you suggest in making those?
Yeah, I think, I mean, they have this data is stored in clouds, but data is sensitive. So they will try to protect each company. I mean, whether in any company, or I mean, if I'm talking of corporates, so they have a cloud of, a system of storing data. So they would put security around that. There would be hybrid cloud or multi-cloud, but don't want to confuse you really. But I think I wish you all the best in your endeavor, Saptarshi. I got you.
Thank you, sir.
If at any point you need my assistance specifically, do reach out.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. Thank you very much.
And if you can come on camera, that would be nicer and politer. Whenever you ask a question, come on
sir,
camera.
Actually, I don't know how to activate my camera.
Video on koro.
Sir, video option ta. Sir, আমি ল্যাপটপ থেকে করছিলাম তো ওইজন্য
ল্যাপটপে একটা ভিডিও থাক. Okay. Not to challenge you further, but I thought just to গুরু নানকের ছেলে একটু ইয়ে করতে হবে. But good, Saptarshi, I like you for your thoughts and thank you so much. Do let me know. But good question.
Thank you, sir.
A doing question. He wants to do something.
Rahul Anand, can you please raise your hand so that we can unmute you? Okay.
Hello.
Yes, Rahul.
I'm audible, sir.
Yes,
you're audible but not visible.
Sir, my camera is not. I am switching with my phone. That's why.
So in a phone, there's also a video. Anyway, you
there is a video button in your phone, Rahul.
So these are known as, virtual etiquettes. If you are listening, then fine. But if you are speaking,
Hello.
hello Rahul,
Yes.
good to see you.
Yes, sir.
My name is also Rahul. Tell me, what is your question?
Quite a good-looking guy.
Yes, sir.
And whenever
Sir,
you sir,
to
whenever,
ask a question
Yeah.
from Rahul Bose, sir.
Tell me your question.
Sir, I have a question that I have joined Coursera.com. That how does Java is working? How?
Mr. Rahul Anand, if you are, I'm sorry, Mr. Bose, if you are comfortable in any other language, please, in Bengali or Hindi, that would be okay.
Sir, I am comfortable in Hindi.
अब
Yes,
हिंदी में बोलिए, I
carry on.
can speak a little bit, I will manage.
सर मुझे जानना है कि मैं Coursera.com में ये किया हूँ, मैं ज्वाइन किया हूँ, तो मुझे ये जावा और कुछ C++ में ज्वाइन किया हूँ, तो उसके लिए वीडियोस क्या देखना जरूरी होगा क्या?
वीडियोस देखना जरूरी होगा. You are doing Coursera में ना?
Yes, sir.
Coursera में you are doing Java.
हाँ सर.
तो Java, can you write a script?
नहीं सर, वो तो नहीं जानता हूँ मैं, कभी किया नहीं हूँ.
स्क्रिप्ट लिखना है और आपको बग रन करना है. ओके, जो हमने दिखाया ना कि आप क्या कर सकते हो. तो थर्मोडायनामिक्स पढ़ा कि नहीं पढ़ा, तो बहुत, लेकिन सर कुछ किया नहीं. तो जावा आप मान लीजिए आप पढ़ने का बाद ट्राई विद अ फ्रेंड हु नोज जावा और अ सीनियर गाय जो थोड़ा जावा जानता है, उनका साथ स्क्रिप्ट लिख करके रन दैट स्क्रिप्ट, तो उसमें बग निकलेगा, माने भूल भाल होगा. And then I think that would be a starting point. What are you learning? Blue Java or Java?
Sir, I am doing BBA from NSHM Knowledge Campus, Durgapur.
नहीं वो सही है, लेकिन जावा आप क्या सीख रहे हो जी?
सर जावा खाली मैं कोर्सेरा में लिया हूँ, ऐसे मुझे कुछ आइडिया नहीं है उसके बारे में.
नहीं, तब आपको अप्लाई करना है. That is all about this lecture.
सर इनरोल करवा चुका हूँ मैं.
हाँ, so आप की स्क्रिप्ट लिखना है. You have to write a script.
तो सर लिख के फिर भेजना है उसको कोर्सेरा को?
कोर्सेरा को भेजिए या कोई दोस्त बंधु जो है जो जानता है उसको भेजिए, so that he can check whether you have written a proper script.
सर तो वो कैसे होगा?
This will remain in learning knowledge domain.
सर अगर आपसे कुछ अगर पूछना है या आपकी टीम से कुछ पूछना है तो कैसे? नंबर तो मिलता नहीं है सर.
अच्छा ठीक है, आपको जावा वाला जानकार वाला आदमी हम बता देंगे. आप राहुल आनंद है तो हम याद रखेंगे. I will give
सर नंबर क्या कहाँ से मिलेगा?
नंबर कहाँ से मिलेगा?
Get in touch with us, Mr. Anand. वो जो ये प्रोग्राम का जो ईमेल एड्रेस है, नेक्स्ट वीक में आप राहुल बोस सर को कुछ दिन टाइम दीजिए. ही इज गोइंग टू गिव अस द कॉन्टैक्ट पर्सन एंड यू सेंड एन ईमेल, देन वी विल पास ऑन द कॉन्टैक्ट इंफॉर्मेशन. Okay, listen, Mr. Anand. Okay, Mr. Bose is not he is going to suggest somebody who knows Java very well. So let us be patient and you get in touch with us. We will pass on the information.
Sir, where is the email?
It is available in the flyer of the webinar that you have used to register for this webinar. It is available there.
Sir, it is there. No reply.
All the instruction will be given to you, sir. Please hold on. All the instruction we will be providing you. Please hold on, sir, because many of the people are in the line.
Don't worry, Mr. Anand. We will take care of you. Yes, the next person, please. Thank you, Mr. Prem.
Okay, sir. Thank you, sir.
Okay, I'm taking the next question from the chat box, sir. Taposh Manna, he is asking, during our education in life, while learning a particular skill, we also get influenced and interested to other skills, and at least we get a mess up to complete the skills. We can start to learn to skill and we can complete to extreme level. I get mess up. How can I can come out of this problem, sir?
তাপস মান্না একটু মিউট থেকে কথা শোনা যায় কি?
Okay, Taposh Manna, if you can raise your hand, we will unmute you. Okay, Taposh Manna, you are unmuted, Taposh.
Hello.
Yes, Taposh.
হ্যাঁ শুনতে পাচ্ছি. তুমি বলো তো তোমার মিস বলছো কিসের মেস?
একটু দেখতে পাওয়াও দরকার তাপস, তোমাকে দেখতে পাওয়াও দরকার.
Camera. I can't see the camera option, video option. Yes.
আচ্ছা, প্রশ্নটা কি তুমি
Yes,
বাংলায়
Taposh?
কথা বলো না হিন্দি কথা বলো? Anyway, I got him. He's learning a lot of skills. So he feels, can you repeat the question one more time?
Yes, sir.
ও
He's saying
তাপস কি
that,
বাইরে বেরিয়ে গেল? হি ইজ নট আনমিউটেড?
I think, sir, he is not
Oh.
able to join due to some
Okay,
technical
okay,
problem.
okay. Sorry, Mr. Koyal, go on.
okay, sir, he's asking during our education in life, while we are learning a particular skill, at that time we got interested into some other skill set, and whenever this happens, we get a mess up with so much things in our mind, and we cannot concentrate on one single skill to acquire. So how to get rid of this problem? I think that is his query.
Focus energy. ঠিক আছে, ও যখন আসবে তখন আমি উত্তর দেব. If
Okay,
you
sir.
see him in the then we'll go on to the next question.
Okay, sir. Okay. Here I am unmuting Rohan Sarkar. Rohan, you have some question. Please switch on your mic and your webcam and ask. Rohan. Hello, Rohan Sarkar. Can you hear us?
Has he raised his hand?
Okay, who is that? Shubham Sadhuka. Shubham Sadhuka, please raise your hand. Shubham. Shubham Sadhuka, if you want to ask a question, please raise your hand. Okay, Taposh Manna is on, I think. Taposh.
Hello, sir.
Yes, Taposh. You may ask your
Hello,
question.
sir. Actually, first of all, I got interest in web designing and all. So I learned HTML. Hello. I
Yes,
learned
yes.
HTML, CSS, JavaScript and all. And I couldn't go further. And then again, I got interest in programming skill and I went in C++ and all.
তো তুমি একটাতে ফোকাস করো, এই জন্য ফোকাস এনার্জি ম্যাট্রিক্সটা দেখালাম তো। তুমি কি ওয়েব ডিজাইন করলে ওয়েব ডিজাইন করো, ওয়েব মাস্টার হবে ভালো। I mean that's a hot skill.
আচ্ছা তাপস মান্না, হ্যালো, শুনতে পাচ্ছো?
Hello.
হ্যাঁ,
Yes,
তুমি
Taposh.
শুনতে পাচ্ছো তাপস?
ওর এটা ডিলেড আসছে।
না, হ্যাঁ ডিলেড আসছে। Maybe we would do it later.
Okay. Sir, may I take the next question from the chat box?
Yeah.
Or maybe ask that candidate to unmute
If
herself.
you
It's from Tania Chakraborty. Tania, can you raise your hand? Tania?
Yes, sir.
এটা ডিলেড আসছে।
Hello.
Okay.
আচ্ছা তাপসকে এখন একটু ইয়ে করে দাও, করে নো তো, মানে because if there is some technical difficulty, we will take him in the end again.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Okay, sir, I'm taking the next question of Tania Chakraborty. She is asking, how can we apply these knowledges to the classroom studies, especially when we are helping the students in grooming?
Okay, Tania, are you a professor or are you a teacher?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I'm a professor. I take grooming classes. That's why my question is related to grooming only. So I want to know how I motivate the students to go for these skills, because you have said about the grown-up people. So we actually deal with the students who are in the young ages. So how can we apply these knowledges in case of these students?
So thank you for asking and thank you for listening to me. Point is, I mean, if you tell them that what is the importance of grooming, then they'll find a point. Like I said, that adults need a purpose to learn. তো আমি যদি বলি যে গ্রুমিং কেন ইম্পর্টেন্ট, সেটা যদি তাদের মনোগ্রাহী হয়, if you can touch a chord in their heart, they will like your grooming courses. Okay, it is not about telling them to do and they'll start doing, because people are thinking people. So some people may say, you know, let me be, amara to groomer dorkar nei. But if you really say that grooming is, if you're an individual contributor, you don't need to groom. But if you work in a team or in a project, you'll meet people. Therefore, you need a little bit of social skills. Therefore, why
Actually,
don't
sir, sorry, sir, for interfering. But the thing is, actually, the most people we find in the classes, they are, according to you, are in the procrastinating group. So
Okay.
they don't have any kind of
So that is
initiative.
your challenge. That is your challenge. If they're in the procrastinators quadrant, you will have to move them to the disengaged or the distracted. First is energy. I think distracted is a better place to be. So you give them energy, and if they want to avoid, if they don't have focus, if they don't have energy, you'll have to move them. So what are the tips to do that, Tania? One is make them have a to-do list. Make them
Okay.
prioritize what they will do in the day. আজকে যদি 3টে কাজ করতে হয় তাহলে 2টো কাজ করো। আর 3 নম্বর কাজটা হলো না। Number 2. Number 3 is cut out distractions. We have so many phone calls, and I think young people are, you know, they get badgered by this Facebook or, I mean, whatever. I'm not denying the importance of it, but tell them these 3 things. যে তুমি একটা to-do list করো, what will you do today? একটা prioritize করো, what will you do 1 to 3? And third is cut out distractions in life. So I think they'll be focused, energy. It is a little bit of health problems, so they'll maybe have to take a little bit of Horlicks or Ovaltine or something, you know, that is beyond my. I cannot advise. I'm not a doc, but I think these are tips which you can move. I got your problem. You need to move them from that procrastinator
Yes,
quadrant.
yes, sir.
Did you get some idea?
Yes, sir. Thank you very much, sir.
Tania, where do you teach?
Sir, I teach in Dr. B.C. Roy College of Pharmacy and Allied Health Sciences.
And that is in Durgapur, or?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. That is in Durgapur.
Okay. Thank you so much.
Thank you, sir.
Okay. Anuradha Gupta. Anuradha Gupta, please raise your hand. Anuradha Gupta.
Is the question there, Mr. Koyal, of Anuradha Gupta?
Yes, sir. But
She
she
has
is
raised
the-
her hand.
Yes, sir. And
Okay.
she is unmuted. She is unmuted.
Radha Gupta, please unmute your mic, audio and video.
Yes, Anuradha. Please ask your question.
My question is that how to focus one thing, like our studies, and also we will want to take a training on web designing. So I focus on that things also, and my college study also. So how to manage these things, and also
When do you
placement
wake up?
comes, so that we also practicing for FT and all these things. So I'm very confused how to manage that things, and sometimes I am depressed.
I understand. When do you wake up, Anuradha?
Sir,
कब
at
नींद से आप कब जागते हैं?
6 a.m. in the morning.
6 a.m. in the morning. Then to get ready, you need 1 hour or 1.5 hours. 7:30.
Yes,
What
sir.
do you do at 7:30?
Sir, actually I teach some students.
At 7:30.
Yes, sir.
How long does that go on?
Sir, about 9:30
And then your college starts
at 10.
at 10. When do you get time? I mean, the main point is it's about time management. I mean, since you are multitasking, you are doing too many things. Maybe you need to cut out one, because I know from 7:30 to 11 you can. I mean, a person can. Beyond that, I mean, there's a breakdown. It is difficult. I mean, you can, but it will be suboptimal. So what I suggest is manage a little bit of time, and I cannot give you tips on how you do it. But if you do, you like that web course you are doing?
Yes, sir.
तो आपको पसंद है तो?
Yes,
So
sir.
that is where you are passionate about, but only that you don't have time for practicing. So I would suggest that you cut down on the students teaching a little bit.
Okay, sir.
Unless it is very essential. I mean, you make it 3 days. कि 3 दिन बच्चा लोग तुम पढ़ोगे, 2 दिन हम पढ़ेंगे. Or you tell them just 3 days, that is all I can do. Then the more time you get, the more oxygen you get, you will not feel so confused. Okay, and you are a good citizen and a good individual. I can see you are a sincere person and you will do very well. But you just cut out that bacha padhana. I mean, I'm not saying that. Cut it out from your life. But for the time being, I think 2 or 3 days, tell them that, I can't do it for the next 3 months. 2021, again, I'll come back.
Okay, sir.
Does that seem
Thank
sensible?
you, sir.
Thank you.
Yes, sir. Sir, with that, I am moving on to the next question by Shudip Nondi. He is asking, sir, how can we reduce or stop overthinking? I think that is a big issue for all of us today, sir.
Shudip Nandi, কোথায় গেল? একটু মুখশ্রীটা দেখি।
Shudip Nandi, please raise your hand and we want to see you and directly listen to the question from you.
It's actually a celebration of life. Sir asked me today at 10th of, just before Durga Puja. So hopefully you are getting ready for it with social distance. Shudip Nandi.
Shudip, if you are there, please raise your hand. Shudip Nandi.
No, he is not there.
Okay, then let's go to the next question if there's any.
Okay, sir. Chitrita Khan. Chitrita Khan is asking, sir, please tell me how to concentrate.
Chitrita Khan, how to concentrate? Chitrita Khan, can you come off mute?
Chitrita? An instruction for all the participants, whoever want to ask any question, please raise your hand and we are going to unmute you and you will ask the question directly to our respected resource person. Chitrita, if you are there, please raise your hand.
Mr. Koyal, you make these announcements you made please make in different languages also, okay? Chitrita Khan is there, I can see him.
Tell us your
Hello,
question.
sir.
Hello.
I'm Chitrita Khan from Geetaram Institute of Management, Baharampur. My question is, sir. Yes, sir. Baharampur, Murshidabad.
Murshidabad, very good. Tell me.
Yes, sir. So my question is how to concentrate on my studies, sir. I always, how can I express this? I never concentrate on my studies, and this is a big problem for me. Not only in studies, but also in other things like while I am watching TV or something else, I am just distracted. I don't know why. I never
have a
ever.
solution for you.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
You are a student or a professor?
No, sir. I'm a student. BBA
And
student.
You study what?
BBA, third year.
BBA third year.
Yes, sir.
Okay. How has been your grades and all? পড়াশোনায় কি রকম?
So 68%.
Okay, no, I didn't ask your stats.
Okay.
But I mean, you are okay. You are doing middling. Can you do gargling every day?
No, sir.
Gargle করে দেখো. Gargling increases concentration.
Okay.
You can do it. Gar. Okay, the way people do. Try something very focused. আর কোনো কাজ gargling এর সময় আর কোনো কাজ করলে কি হবে? বিষম খাবে. So, okay, that is showing me. I mean, that is one trick. do gargling, do a little bit of deep breathing, which I think you tried. Ektu sokale pranayam, a little bit. Okay, concentrate and think of what will I do in the next 1 hour. Sara din bhebe labh nei. And stop watching digital platform as far as you can. I know it's not possible, but do not multitask. এই যে বললাম আমি 5টা কাজ করলে কোনো কাজটা আমি ভালো করতে পারবো। For example, you are listening to me, you are chatting to your friend, you are watching a Durga Puja promotion live on television. এইসব করলে কি হবে? বহরমপুরে কোনো আনন্দ হবে? কাজেই হ্যাঁ, I know Murshidabad is a lovely place. You will be, but gargling is one sure shot. সকালে একটা gargle, or what else? Brushing your teeth. These things you cannot fool around. Okay, এগুলো করলে বিষম লাগবে. So try to do certain activities which will keep you hooked. So for example,
सर मैं मतलब आज तक ऐसा कोई भी वर्क नहीं है जो कंसंट्रेटली मैं कर पाई हूँ, मतलब कभी भी नहीं होता है ऐसा।
हाँ, so who all are there in your house?
ये sorry sir?
In your house, who all are there? বাড়িতে কে কে মানে कौन है আপনার বাড়িতে কে আছে?
मतलब मम्मी है, पापा है और हम हैं।
Okay. So one thing is try to cut out on phone calls. Okay, do not take every call. Keep your mobile closed unless you want to speak. Is that a deal?
Yes sir, मैं मतलब सभी का फोन कॉल अटेंड भी नहीं करती हूँ।
नहीं, phone बंद ही रखिए।
अच्छा अच्छा।
What I'm saying is don't even see that it's ringing. अभी जैसे क्या, I mean, if I can see somebody will ring. Okay.
Okay.
What I'm saying is just make it black. And especially after 7 or 8 o'clock, when you don't have any business, just shut it off. When you want to speak, you open the call. Okay. And gargle in the morning.
Okay, sir.
Okay.
Thank you so much, sir.
May I interject here? This is an excellent solution to all, that this gargling. Okay, so it really, and sir explained it in such a nice way that it will force you physically to concentrate. Concentration is something, it is so intangible. So we need to engage in something, some sort of an work where if you don't concentrate, there is going to be a quote unquote physical backlash. And that physical backlash, gargling is just, this is an excellent antidote. Thank you, sir. And I do it, and I suggest all of us, if we can practice it. And it is a very, very easy to do thing, in the sense you do pretty much all of us have the wherewithal to do it. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you, Chitrita. Do you have any other questions?
Yes, next is Oyon Banerjee. Oyon, please unmute yourself. Oyon Banerjee.
Hello,
Oyon, please unmute yourself. Yes. Oyon, switch on the camera. Switch on the camera. Oyon. Hello,
okay.
Oyon.
Bandwidth problem, but
sir, one minute, sir.
ঠিক আছে, question বলো। Rahul Anand wants to have one more question, so unmute him. He can go after Oyon. Oyon, please begin your question. Never mind the camera. I mean, if it works, fine. If it doesn't, fine. I think he's having a problem.
Ayan Banerjee, please
Hello,
ask
sir.
your question.
Okay.
Hello, sir.
Yes.
Sir,
Hello.
Good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon. Oyon, তুমি কোথায় ভাই?
স্যার 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 দেখতে পাচ্ছেন স্যার?
হ্যাঁ, দেখতে পাচ্ছি, খুব সুন্দর তো তোমার মুখশ্রীটা।
স্যার আমি স্যার BC সেকেন্ড ইয়ার ফ্রম সিকম ম্যানেজমেন্ট কলেজ MAKAUT.
আচ্ছা
স্যার I have one question. Sir, how I can develop in communication skill? মানে কমিউনিকেশন স্কিলটা আমার কেমন ডেভেলপ করব?
বলতে পারো তো?
ইয়েস স্যার।
বাংলায় ভালো বলতে পারো তো কথা?
হ্যাঁ স্যার।
তুমি বাংলাটা ভালো করে বলো, তাহলেই হবে।
স্যার বাংলা তো ভালো জানি, কিন্তু স্যার আমি ইংলিশটা একটু উইক আছে স্যার। মানে ইংলিশ
একদম ভালো করো। ওকে, মাই অ্যাডভাইস ইজ তুমি
sir.
বাংলাটা একদম ভালো করো, ঠিক আছে? আর
Yes, sir.
ইংরেজি তুমি জাস্ট সেন্টেন্স গুলো শর্ট করে দেবে।
Sentence
ধরো
গুলো, sir.
আমায় বলতে হবে যে টুডে উই হ্যাভ দিস সেমিনার বাই সো ধরো আমাকে বলতে হবে একটা সেন্টেন্স, ওকে?
Yes, sir.
আজকে ম্যাকআউটের এই লেটস সে ইন ইংলিশ, সো দিস মর্নিং উইল ডিসকাস অ্যাবাউট নলেজ থিঙ্কিং ডুইং গ্যাপ।
Yes, sir.
তুমি ইউজ ক্রিপ্টিক, যেমন এসএমএস বা হোয়াটসঅ্যাপের ল্যাঙ্গুয়েজ,
হ্যাঁ স্যার।
সেটাই তুমি আস্তে আস্তে চলে যাও, মানে চাইনিজদের মতো। টুডে উই লার্ন থিঙ্কিং ডুইং গ্যাপ, স্টপ। Tomorrow we take on, তুমি take small sentences which is grammatically correct. তুমি লম্বা যেতে যেও না, তাহলেই ওই সিনট্যাক্স আসবে, গ্রামার আসবে। তুমি ছোট সেন্টেন্স মারো।
স্যার মানে স্যার আমি যখন ওই ইংরেজিতে মানে কথা বলি, ওই বিচেতে মানে পুরো সেন্টেন্সটা মানে হয় মানে আটকিয়ে যায় এরকম অবস্থা।
সেইটাই তো স্যার বলছেন যে ছোট করে করে বড় লম্বা সেন্টেন্সে যেও না, ছোট করে দাও, তাহলেই আর বিচেতে আটকে যাবে না, মাঝেতে আটকে যাবে না।
আর
আমি একটু অ্যাড করতে চাই, করব স্যার?
হ্যাঁ নিশ্চয়ই,
উইথ ইওর পারমিশন স্যার।
অবশ্যই অবশ্যই।
রাহুল, আমরা একটা জিনিস করি, আমরা যখনই কোনো কিছু ভাবি সেই ভাবনাটা না আমরা সবসময় নিজের মাতৃভাষাতে ভাবি এবং আমরা যেটা ভাবি সেটাই বলি। তো তুমি একটা প্র্যাকটিস করতে পারো, এবং আমি নিজে পার্সোনালি এটাতে আমি নিজে বেনিফিট পেয়েছি, সেই জন্য আমি তোমাকে সাজেস্ট করতে পারি, যখন তুমি নিজের মতন কিছু ভাবছো, হোয়েন ইউ আর থিঙ্কিং ইন ইউর মাইন্ড, সেইটাকে একটু ইংরেজিতে ভাবার চেষ্টা করো। যদি এই রেসপন্সটা আমি ওকে দিতাম, তাহলে আমি এটা ইংরেজিতে কি বলতাম, কাউকে বলার দরকার নেই। তুমি নিজের মাইন্ডের মধ্যে ইংরেজিতে ভাবো, দেখবে আস্তে আস্তে মাইন্ডের মধ্যে একের পর এক সেন্টেন্স তৈরি হতে থাকছে, কনভারসেশন তৈরি হচ্ছে, এবং সেই কনভারসেশনটা তোমার নিজের সাথেই তৈরি হচ্ছে। এই প্র্যাকটিসটা বোধহয় কিছুটা হেল্পফুল হতে পারে।
ডেফিনেটলি।
ঠিক আছে স্যার, ওকে স্যার, থ্যাংক ইউ স্যার।
তোমাকে কিন্তু জিনিসটা যা যা শুনলে সেটা একটু মন দিয়ে প্র্যাকটিস করতে হবে, হ্যাঁ, ভুলে যেও না। ওটা মন দিয়ে প্র্যাকটিস করো, একটু লিখে লিখে, যে ঠিক আছে আজকে আমি এতটা করলাম, আজকে আমি এতটা করলাম, প্রত্যেক দিন একটা ওই ডায়েরিতে করে যে যে জিনিসগুলো, কারণ তুমি আই অ্যাপ্রিশিয়েট যে তুমি নিজের একটা দুর্বলতাকে নিজেই আইডেন্টিফাই করে সেটাকে ঠিক করার চেষ্টা করছো, এটা সবচেয়ে বড় ধাপ। কিন্তু ওটাতে ওই একটা ডায়েরিতে বা কিছুতে লিখে লিখে যে প্রত্যেক দিন যে তুমি করছো, এইটাই যদি ডায়েরিতে লেখা থাকে, তাহলেই দেখবে বুকে অনেক বল আসবে যে বাহ, আমি তো ছেড়ে দিইনি, আই এম নট এ কুইটার। দ্য মোমেন্ট ইউ গেট দ্যাট ফিল যে আমি ছেড়ে দিচ্ছি না, হাল ছাড়ছি না, তখনই দেখবে ঠিক হতে থাকবে, জিনিসটা আরো উত্তরোত্তর ভালো হতে থাকবে। ট্রাই ইট। থ্যাংক ইউ।
Yes sir, thank you sir.
Thank you.
Yes sir.
Sir, should we take Rahul Anand once again?
Yeah, just one more time because
okay.
Yeah, I think we got to take, I mean our clock is also ticking.
Is ticking,
yes sir.
Right.
Yes sir.
Hello.
So
yes Rahul.
Sir, I have one more question, that I have joined many courses in Coursera, Rahul was sir, and that how can it is not showing sir video. Can you
okay, Rahul, let me take your question. Rahul, let me take your question. In Coursera, if you have joined in many courses, there you will find the options how to access the courses. All the details are available there in the website in Coursera. Please go through the instructions and follow the instructions, and it is not a rocket science to understand the Coursera things.
And Mr. Koyal,
yes,
you send him note. Rahul, we are noting down, you put it on the chat box, your email address. We will contact with you and guide you. একদিন তোমাকে একদম হাতে ধরে ধরে যাচ্ছে এটা খোলো।
Sir, क्या बोल रहे हैं आप, कुछ समझ नहीं आ रहा है।
You write your email address in the chat box. We will contact you and help you, person, one-on-one counseling session.
Yes.
Okay, help session.
Yes Rahul.
Sir, please contact me.
Okay,
very helpful way.
Okay Rahul, please send me your email ID and I will contact you. Okay?
Sir, it is showing in to panelists only, it is not showing to all.
Okay, okay.
Hey, that would work. Fine, thanks.
That would work.
Thank you sir.
Okay, sir, may you take a couple of questions more?
Yeah, and that is it. I think we take 2 more questions. Kivalan sir.
Okay, okay,
That's fine.
okay, sir. I'm taking one from the chat box. Sir, what is the right time to carry out the idea I have, and how much risk I can take without knowing the idea will be successful or not? Munish Kumar Yadav, he is asking.
If they're on video, then we can get a direct. I mean, what is
Okay.
the reference?
Munish,
What to do?
Munish, can you raise your hand? Munish Kumar Yadav. Munish Kumar Yadav, if you are there, please raise your hand. Yes.
Okay, or can we go to the next question?
Yes, sir.
Sir, I have written in chat box.
Okay, okay, Rahul. Okay, Kunal Bhattacharya. Please unmute.
Hello, sir.
Yes, yes.
Kunal. Kunal is staff we take. Okay, then we proceed for closing. Kivalan sir.
Yes.
Yes, Kunal.
আমার কোশ্চেনটা হচ্ছে স্যার কি আমি যখন মানে কোশ্চেন করতে যাই স্যার হোক বা যে কাউকে মানে আমি খুব সাই মানে কোশ্চেন করতে গিয়ে মানে নিজে ভাবি যে আমি বোকা বোকা হয়ে যাবো না তো মানে কোশ্চেনটা উত্তরটা হয়তো বোকা বোকা আসবে না তো মানে ওভার থিঙ্কিং প্লাস খুব বেশি মানে সাই আমি তারপরে জানতে পারি যে হ্যাঁ কোশ্চেনটা ঠিকই ছিল স্যার হয়তো নিজেই বলেন যে এই কোশ্চেনটা করা উচিত ছিল কিন্তু আমি তখন সে নিজের মনে থেকে আমি করতে পারি না মানে নিজে আগেই ভেবে নিই যে উত্তরটা হয়তো স্যারের কাছ থেকে মানে আমি আশা করবো এরকম আসবে না তাহলে কি করবো মানে
তুমি ঢিল ছুটতে পারো?
হ্যাঁ স্যার।
তো তুমি রোজ 10টা ঢিল ছুড়বে, তোমার শাইনেস কাটবে। Just take a piece of stone and throw it where nobody will be hurt. Have you tried it? তুমি কি লেফট হ্যান্ডার না রাইট হ্যান্ডার? লেফট হ্যান্ডার?
না স্যার রাইট হ্যান্ডার।
রাইট হ্যান্ডার। তুমি কিছু খেলো?
হ্যাঁ স্যার ক্রিকেট।
ক্রিকেট। তুমি ডান হাতে তুমি একটা ঢিল নিয়ে বা একটা বল নিয়ে তুমি থ্রো মারবে রোজ। তোমাদের বাড়িতে দেয়াল আছে? Look, I think we are losing him. But my whole point was that Kunal, you start being an extrovert by start by throwing a ball where nobody will get hurt, or start by throwing a pebble. একটা ঢিল বা পাথর নিয়ে স্টার্ট। তোমার এটা প্রথমে অ্যাকশন ওরিয়েন্টেশন লাগবে। শরীরে টেক্স টাইম, বডির ফিজিক্যালিটি আছে। শাইনেস প্রথমে শরীরটায় কাটায়, তারপরে ইট উইল ইম্প্যাক্ট ইওর মাইন্ড। ইউ স্টার্ট দিস অ্যান্ড লেট আস নো। তুমি একটা বল নিয়ে দিনে 10 বার বল পিটাবে। ইজ দ্যাট ওকে?
ওকে স্যার, থ্যাংক ইউ স্যার।
না, থ্যাংক ইউর জন্য বলো না। এটা তোমার মনে হয় যে এটা করলে ভালো হবে?
হ্যাঁ স্যার, চেষ্টা করব।
হ্যাঁ, চেষ্টা করো। এই বলটা ছুড়লেই তুমি আস্তে আস্তে তোমার এটা মুক্ত হয়ে যাবে। You'll be releasing all your tensions and your shyness the real tiger of Kunal Bhattacharya will come out.
Okay,
but
sir.
Good that you asked this question.
Sir, I think we are almost at the end of our question and answer session. And if you please allow me to take one last question, and this is not from the chat box or not from today's session, but this question is from my cousin, and he has just completed his BCA, and when he got to know that today there is a session of that topic, he asked me, Dada, jodi ei proshnoটা একটু স্যারকে জিজ্ঞেস করতে পারিস। So if you allow me, I can take the question, sir.
No, you are the master of the ceremony. You will close everything down if I don't allow.
No, sir. Okay, sir. He's asking. He thinks a lot about his career plan, and then he set plans of action to meet the career goal. But after a while, he finds it is getting difficult day by day to follow his own plan. The plan he has made earlier, it is getting tougher day by day to follow that his own plan. So how he can get rid of this problem?
Okay, so his problem is that his plans are not.
He's
being
making plan.
like he wanted.
He's making practical planning for his career. Now he starts following the plans. He starts acting on the plan. But after a while, he's getting loose of that track.
Okay. So I think the plan needs to be revisited. That is my number one advice to him, that let's make a very realistic plan which he can achieve. And what is his age? Uni ki karen?
He has just completed BCA.
He has just completed BCA.
Yes, sir.
So is he working somewhere or is he doing?
No, he's planning to complete his MCA.
Okay.
He has enrolled
so
somewhere.
Yeah, and definitely I'll take it offline with you, well, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay, but
Okay,
I got the problem. We can definitely have a conversation on it.
Okay, sir. Thank you, sir.
Trivialize your question by answering it like this, but we'll be in touch.
Okay, sir. Okay, thank you, sir. So here we are at the end of our today's session. Now I would like to request Dr. Somasdar sir to give a brief about what we have learned today. Please, sir.
Well, two things. One is the physical aspect. এই যে শরীরের জড়তাটা কাটানোর জরুরি মনের জড়তা কাটানোর আগে বা গার্গল করা. These sound silly, but this heightens by manifold my respect for Mr. Bose. কারণ এগুলোতেই কাজ হয়. অনেক ফ্যান্সি হার্ভার্ড স্ট্যানফোর্ড এইসব জায়গাকার হার্ভার্ড বিজনেস রিভিউ এর নানান সমস্ত ফ্যান্সি কথাবার্তা শোনা যায়, কিন্তু সেগুলো অনেক সময়ই জীবনে প্রয়োগ করা যায় না. Those cannot be put into practice. So these are not the comments or his discourse, if I may use the word, has not been esoteric. It reminds me of something it's rooted in reality and it could be practiced. So that is one. The other part is putting a framework. So the way I like to using my terminology, I would like to call it thinking inside the box. That having a framework that actually helps us. It helps us to get out of the feeling of getting lost and drifting and being helpless. So he has put frameworks in place. He has given very realistic, practicable solutions. So these are my two takeaways from today's session. And I do appreciate him for setting aside more time for interaction than lecturing. So thank you very much, Mr. Bose. It has been a pleasure being with you on this session. Thanks.
Now the formalities for getting the certificates. I'm just sharing one screen for you, dear participants. Just follow these steps and you will get the certificate. First, you will get the link. Mr. Prem Kumar, are you there? Mr. Kumar? Hello, Mr. Kumar, are you there?
Yes, sir.
Okay, please send the feedback link and the certificate link in the chat box that the participants can copy it. So the instruction is written here. I think my screen is visible. First, you have to submit the feedback form, clicking on the link. Then you have to write one short mail containing 50 to 100 words about your takeaway from session 6, and you have to send the mail to corporateclassroom.makaut@gmail.com. Unless or until you have sent the mail, we will not provide any certificate. only after you have completed the feedback form submission and the email of your takeaway, then you will get the certificate. And we will be receiving the emails latest
Acha,
by
just a
11th. Yes, sir.
second,
Yes,
Mr.
sir.
Koyal. By takeaway, what is meant is what
Yes.
you have learned from this session. So
Yes,
this
sir.
is important that you write the email maybe 50 to 100 words, and what our Honorable Vice Chancellor had suggested, give some critical thinking and put it in your writing, not just you have to say everything was fine, etc. As Mr. Bose pointed out, don't thank you for the sake of thanking you. So do some thinking and write and use it as an exercise for clarifying and reinforcing the learning. This would help tremendously. It is not just for the purpose of meeting a criterion, but this exercise will clarify and help help you sustain and ingrain whatever you have learned in this through this session. Thank you. Yes, over to you, Mr. Kaur.
Yes. So please follow as sir has suggested. You have to write in the subject portion of your mail, my takeaway from session 6, and you have to write the mail on your critical thinking about today's session and send it latest by 11th October, which means tomorrow by 5 p.m. And after that, you will receive the certificate in the certificate link. You will receive the certificate in the certificate link only after you have submitted the assignment and the feedback form.
Acha, the feedback form, the quiz form?
Yes, sir.
Is the quiz going to be included in the feedback form?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. The
Okay.
quiz is included in the feedback form. And Mr. Prem Kumar, please copy paste the link in the chat box so that the candidates, participants can directly access it from there.
Yes, sir. All the links have been shared in the chat box and it is displayed in the display board. Kindly note the link of the quiz and each certificate link. And there is some time bound that is instructed by Kayal sir. Please follow the instruction and kindly go to the deadline of the time so that we can process the certificates and we will be able to deliver the certificate in time.
Yes, and Mr. Kumar, do one more thing before we conclude the session. We have the live broadcast in YouTube, and there are a lot of participants as I have watched. So please
Yes,
copy,
yes.
please post the link there in the YouTube comment box as well, so that
Yes,
the participants
Keep
from the
providing
YouTube
it, sir.
they can also access it. Okay. So now I would request our training and placement officer, Dr. Anandarup Sarangi sir, to say the vote of thanks of today's session. Sarangi sir.
Thank you, Sushanto. Good afternoon to all panelists. Good afternoon to Sukendu sir, to Sushanto, Shashwato, and a very big thanks to our honorable guest, Rahul Bose sir. Of all the sessions I have seen, he's one of the most humble speakers that we have found, and I really thank Bose sir for the humbleness with which he has delivered the lecture and with which he has motivated our students, our university for various aspects. So with sincere thanks to all, and our honorable VC sir also for the inaugural lecture for this session, I want to close the session.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, everyone.
Acha, let me make
yes.
one comment here, piggybacking on what Dr. Sarangi mentioned. Yes, the very humble approach that Mr. Bose has taken, I think, has touched the chords in the participants. So many questions. There are, I can see even 66 there on the question and answer. I wish we could elongate it forever, but there are practical constraints. So I apologize to those of you whose questions remained questions without being answered, but we try to get hold of the questions, address the question in some fashion. There are practical constraints in life, as you understand. Please stay in touch. If these questions are serious, post it to the email address, we will try to send a reply in either using our own abilities or in consultation with the expertise and experience of Mr. Bose. So this, I wish it were otherwise, that we could take all the questions, but you see, this is the 2-hour mark is coming and we really have to close. Thank you.
Yes. And one more thing, sir, for the prolonged question and answer session, the participants can also keep in touch with us using our Facebook page. We have our Facebook page link shared at the beginning of today's session. So they can ask the questions using the social networking pages as well.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Dr. Shamazdar. Thank you, Anandarup. Thank you, Shashwata. It's been a pleasure, and have a good week.